There has never been a more perfect time to buy a home. Hi everyone, I'm Angie Murphy with Next Home NTX Real Estate. If you've been wondering whether now is a good time to buy a home, you're definitely not alone. It's probably the number one question that I'm asked. People see higher interest rates, inflation, uncertainty in the economy, and they wonder, should I wait? That's a fair question. But today I wanted to show you something that completely changed the way many people think about the housing market. When we look back over the last 45 years, something becomes incredibly clear. Every single decade gave people a reason not to buy a home. Yet people who bought anyway and simply stayed in their homes built tremendous wealth over time. Let's take a little trip through history. Let's start in the early 1980s. Mortgage rates climbed to around 18%. Can you imagine? Today people get nervous about 6 or 7% mortgage. Back then people were borrowing money at nearly 3 times that interest rate. Everyone thought, nobody should buy right now. It sounded logical, interest rates were sky high, inflation was out of control, the economy felt uncertain. But here's what happened. People who bought homes during that time eventually refinanced when the rates came down. What they couldn't refinance was the purchase price. They locked in yesterday's home price while values continued climbing over the decades. Today, many of those homes are worth 5 times or even more than what their owners originally paid. In the late 1980s, then came the savings and loan crisis. Banks were failing, lending tightened, people wondered whether the housing market was headed for disaster. Again, many people decided to wait. History tells us those who bought and held on were rewarded. In the early 1990s, then there came another recession. Job losses, economy uncertainty, people worried about buying during an unstable economy. Sound familiar? Because every generation believes their challenges are different. But history keeps telling the same story. People who purchase quality homes and stay the course continue building equity. The early 2000s, when we had the dot-com bust. Stock portfolios dropped, people lost confidence once again, many buyers hit the pause button, but real estate continued proving itself over the long run. The housing crash, of course, we can't talk about housing history without mentioning 2008. This was different. Home values actually fell in many parts of the country. People lost homes, builders stopped building. It was painful, and many people said, I'll never buy a house again. But there's something worth remembering. The people who were financially able to buy during or after that downturn often purchased homes at prices we'll probably never see again. Many of those same homes have doubled or more since then. No one knew exactly when the recovery would happen. They simply knew housing has always been a long-term investment. And then 2020, then came COVID. Nobody knew what was going to happen. People wondered if the economy would collapse. Instead, we experienced one of the hottest real estate markets in history. Again, something almost no one predicted. Today, fast forward to today, interest rates are higher than they were a few years ago. Inflation has affected everyone's budget. Inventory has been limited in many markets, and there's still uncertainty. I hear people say, I'm just going to wait until things get better. But here's something Brian Buffini shared the other day during his bold predictions presentation that really stuck with me. His outlook is that the housing market is expected to remain relatively slow for the next few years. Now, none of us has a crystal ball, and no one can predict the future with certainty. But if rates stay similar and prices continue to gradually appreciate while you wait, those are the years of equity you may never get back. Waiting doesn't always reduce the cost of buying. Sometimes waiting simply means buying the same house later for more money. The biggest lesson, here's the lesson history keeps teaching us. There has never been a perfect time to buy. Every decade has had high interest rates, inflation, recessions, stock market corrections, housing concerns, economic uncertainty, every single decade. Yet homeowners who bought responsibly and stayed in their homes generally built wealth over time. That's why you've probably heard the saying, date the rate, marry the house, interest rates change. Can you refinance a loan? You cannot go back and buy yesterday's home at yesterday's prices. Final thoughts. I'm never going to tell someone to buy a home that they're not financially ready to buy. That is not good advice. But if you're financially prepared, if you saved your down payment, your job is stable, and you're planning to stay in the home for several years, history says time has generally been on your side. Because what matters most isn't trying to perfectly time the market, it's time in the market. That's where equity grows. That's where wealth is built. If you're wondering whether or not now is the right time for you, I would love to have that conversation. Every buyer's situation is different, and the right decision depends on your goals, not just today's headlines. I'm Angie Murphy with Next Home NTX Real Estate, helping families throughout the Fort Worth area making confident real estate decisions. If you found this video helpful, I'd really appreciate it if you'd like it, subscribe, and share it with someone who's been waiting for the perfect time to buy. And I'd love to hear from you in the comments. If you could buy a home anywhere in Texas, where would it be? And what's been holding you back? Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.